Full moon. Woohoo! Yeah, every time there's a full moon, I kind of, in the period up, I'm like, oh, it's not affecting me. And then something happens and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what's going on. And it's not always us, right? Sometimes it's what's going on in the world. Sometimes it's what's going on with our partner, with our friends, with our children, with our parents. So having a little bit of understanding of what's driving and what's going on the deeper level can really help to bring a little bit more compassion, not only to ourselves, but to others as well. And Scorpio is a very deep feeling sign. You know, Scorpio is a water sign, it's fixed. If we were going to equate Scorpio to a water body, it would be a really deep lake. And this is what you sometimes get with people who are Scorpio sun signs. You know, a real deepness to it, but from the top is picture perfect. And there's some amount of withholding often with a Scorpio sign, sun sign. And that's what you get a little bit with the personality of Scorpio. So in this weekend's retreat, I'm working with a meditation in the morning, which is all about understanding our soul and our personality. So if you've done it this morning, great, you get what I'm talking about. But if you're to do it tomorrow morning and you haven't started yet, the basic premise that I'm working with is that we all have a personality and we have a soul. And our soul is unique and our personality is unique. Our soul has a certain vibration, right? A certain frequency, a certain purpose, a certain way that it unites and connects to other. And then our personality, it changes. Our personality has natural skills, natural weaknesses. It is made up of your physical body, which is etheric as well. So your physical body is only there because you have a certain etheric webbing nature that's making your physical body. This is a real key principle of this esoteric knowledge that I base all my teachings on. You know, it's just like quantum. You know, you have to have a mass and a vibration to have something that's there. It's made of these two parts, and it's the same as our physical body. So we also have an emotional body, sometimes called an astral body, and we have a mental body, which is where our thoughts are. So just as you have a personality, your friends and family have personalities, and they change over time as you grow, as your physical body changes, as your emotional experience, your emotional awareness changes. It changes what you've been holding, changes your emotional body. What you've released, again, changes your emotional body. What you've learnt, how you your ability to think critically, ability to clear chitter and chatter from your mind influences your mental body. But in each of those three spheres, they're all is some natural urge and natural way. It's not like if you're born into the world looking one way that you can completely change. You know, your hair color is your hair color unless you dye it, right? You're not just going to suddenly like work through some emotional shit and then your hair goes red, right? So there is an amount of changing within a parameter of what your physical body due to your genes, your DNA is like. And the same with your emotional body. We tend to be of three types of emotionality. We can either be up and down, we can be quite smooth, just pumping along, you know, lucky them. And most of us are like, and then down, and then. And the same with our mental body. Some of us work creatively through visual, we create images, and others of us are not visual at all. And this is kind of what we have. These are our skill sets, our natural abilities. And just like you, Scorpio has also a personality and a soul. So Scorpio will influence you in your soul, and it will influence your personality. So to unravel this all is a lot more deep than a very standard astrological reading of, in Scorpio, things are going to get intense and deep and angry and emotive. And what does that mean? That means when the sun goes into Scorpio, the sun represents our higher self. Okay, so when the sun is in Scorpio, there in the personality, we may have an urge to want to be emotive. We may feel this charge within us. On a personality level, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the god of war here. We want to go to war with someone, something, right? But on a soul level, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. And Pluto is all about bringing a death to something, to be reborn. So Scorpio is influencing not just your personality, but also your soul, as its soul influence is to want to end something and to start something anew, to make a new beginning. It's a real, a bit like Pisces. Pisces, we have this new beginning with the new sign and with the restart of the zodiac. But here in Scorpio, we are transmuting what we've been creating to bring about something that's closer aligned with our soul, with our heart, with the thing that our natural vibration, this soul side of us. It's not necessarily going to be in line with our personality, which, as I've been talking about in the meditation, when our personality gets fixed, a fixed idea of itself, it becomes an identity and an ego. So quite often in the Scorpio time, this death and rebirth is the breaking down of one's ego, one's identity. So if you think about all the ways that you identify yourself as, whatever position you have in your family, your brother, sister, mother, child, whatever you do in your professional life, or whatever you do for money, whether it's vocational or not, whatever you do creatively, however you on Instagram like to be seen, I'm a millennial, I'm a progressive, I'm a Democrat, I'm a conservative. However you label yourself, that's an identity. And then there comes to points when you're like, it doesn't feel good in my heart to be this anymore. So I need to break it down and I need to become something else. And this breaking down is the symbol of Scorpio. This is the phoenix. This is like, let's burn the hell out of what I've already done with my life and use that to energize a new rebirth that is more aligned with my truth, with my heart, with my soul. So Scorpio is big and challenging. Scorpio rules the second initiation. So in terms of the path to enlightenment, if you like, because I'm sure you're all here to become enlightened in one weekend. The first initiation is kind of mastery of the physical body. And you have lots of practices like yoga, like cleansing, fasting, purifying one's kind of, intake of food, naturopathy, nutrition. This is first initiation. This is like, okay, I understand that this is a gift, this body, and I want to nourish it. I want to cleanse it, purify it, so that I can use this body fully and to my greater purpose, to my greater service even. First initiation. Second initiation is ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio governs emotions. So this is real mastery of emotions. So this is why during this season, it's not just the full moon, this season, it's so important to be more aware of what you're feeling. Because from the depths of that Scorpio lake are coming up to the surface some emotions that are trying to tell you something. You know, the monsters of the deep actually aren't that scary. Okay, these ideas that we've been filling the minds of our children, you know, with the films, with the cartoons, with these scary monsters, and actually all they're representing is the unknown emotion, compounded emotion of the human creation, you know. And we have like a massive astral monster that humanity has created in various forms of, you know, of pride and of glamour and of cruelty, that we have to see, you know. And this year has brought to the surface a lot of really uncomfortable realizations in every country around the world. And yes, some people are going to want to push them down because it's not fun, it's not comfortable to be experiencing this. And absolutely, we can't take all of it at once. We want to take little bit by little bit to uncover and see and hear and feel, and let it galvanize and catalyze into something that needs to come out of it, however that is. You know, how does one process grief? Something needs to be experienced, be felt, and be processed, and then maybe something is created as a kind of final point of the grief cycle. I mean, we're going to dive into a lot of this later. In Scorpio, obviously, we have the Mars rulership. So anger is a big one. You know, what is irritating you? What is frustrating you? You know, those things. At the moment, at the time of recording, there's a whole lot of other astrological influences that are maybe complicating the situation. We have a Uranus influence, which is making people really want to rebel, you know, against structures and systems. And with the sun in Scorpio, this is kind of anger at the system, at any form of rule structures. But we need to be clear about what is frustrating us, you know, and with our journaling, you know, this is going to form a part of it. So even after this meditation, maybe do write down anything that comes up, that just does come up. The full moons, obviously, because they're full, they're on the opposite side to the sun, so that the sun is reflecting them down, we can see them. And the moon is representative of our lower self, you know, and lower doesn't mean that it's worse. Lower just means that it's just a word for your personality. Because in the pictures they draw, you know, your person down here, and your soul up here, your spirit right up here. At least that's my drawing anyway. And spirit or light comes down, is magnetized by soul, and then comes into the is magnetizing through our personality, just like a puppet on a string. But that influence of the moon gets us emotive, and emotions get in the way of us being able to really feel sometimes, you know, because the charge is so big. The opposite sign of Scorpio is Taurus. And so Taurus, in its, because the moon is in Taurus, we're talking, it's actually bringing up the more personality side of Taurus, not its soul side. So the personality influence of Taurus has a very, you know, I'm okay on my ownness. So you as an individual, I don't know where you are in your point of life or your relationship status, but when you're as just an individual, free from a partnership, free from any dependence, you can get quite stubborn and rigid and in your own habits. So Taurus has this like I'm okay. I'm self-sufficient. I know how to mind myself financially, practically. I've got my own house. I'm well grounded, mate. Right. So the good side of this is that it grounds us and keeps things close to home, keeps things more common sense. But when we're in Scorpio, which the sun is now, which is the big thing we're working with, because the sun is the most important thing on this planet, right? You know, that's what brings us light and life. Scorpio is all about relationships. Scorpio is, once you've got married, right? If marriage was Libra, which we've just been through, it's all peaceful and nice. We got married, and then we go into Scorpio, yeah, and then we really get to know our partner, okay? And all this compromise has to happen. This conflict has to happen, and it's like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. I was all right, you know. This is the Taurus, you know. I was all right on my own, actually. I knew how to do it on my own. And all of a sudden there's this other person, and they have needs, and they have feelings, and they have mental patterns, and they have their own range of physical likes and dislikes and limitations. And so our life has to change. And as we get more and more intimate with another person, we see more and more of ourselves. And this makes it more and more uncomfortable. And this opposition with the Taurus is saying, I'm okay on my own. Like, I didn't sign up for all this crap, you know? Those of you in a relationship know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who've been in a relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then, but yet in Scorpio, it's desperate for intimacy. Desperate to be loved, desperate to be seen, to be felt fully, you know. But the only way that is possible is for the other person, and thus for you, to see all of you, the stuff you like and the stuff you don't. So there's this real resistance to being seen because it's so uncomfortable. And I do think, you know, for all of us, that's what we crave. We crave to be truly loved, you know, to be truly held, to be loved for all that we are. But the process to get there is for us to love all of our bits, you know. I'm not just talking about wobbly bits or saggy bits. I'm talking about, you know, the emotional outbursts, the things you say in anger, the things that you do in fear, all of that stuff, you know. And when you're in any relationship, you know, even a flatmate, a housemate, if you're living with anyone, you get a bit intimate because you see each other's habits, you see each other's patterns, Taurus, you know. So all of these habits and patterns are getting really irritating. And so this is where the question comes, and this is what the work is going to be over this weekend, is, you know, how much of that is for change, how much of this is for us to change, to speak up, to open a dialogue, how much of it is for us to actually go into ourselves and to ask ourselves, hang on, you're irritating me, but maybe that's because that irritates me because that's about me. I'll give you my example that I think I've shared with a few of you. This month I've been super angry. Like, there's frustration, this resentment, this bitterness. And it got so bad that I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit with you for a bit. I just need to know what this is about, because I was so resentful and frustrated about my husband. Nothing he was doing was like right. It was just annoying or wrong, or he didn't, all this story about not being appreciated, blah, 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 blah. And so then I had to ask myself what the anger was about. Why are you here? You know, why am I so angry? And then this whole story, the mental story, starts to come out about what he did or didn't do, all of this stuff. And I just sat and I listened to it. Listened to what she had to say, this part of myself. And then there came a point when I was like, okay, well, what do you need to do? And it became apparent that actually I needed to ask for what I needed. That all these decisions that I felt were made without me or against me were actually, the other side didn't even know that. So I was frustrated because things weren't happening in my life the way I wanted them, but that's because I never asked for them. I never verbalized it. And then I dived deeper into this this inability to ask for what I wanted. You know, what is this inability to not be just saying, you know, why do I not want to get a no? Or why do I not want the other person to reject me? And here I started to be pulled into a place of myself where there was myself as a child who was fiery, who did say what she wanted, but felt rejected because it was challenging parenting for my parents to not ask, I was screaming and shouting, you know, being a right difficult child, right? Difficult. You know, everyone knew me as a difficult child growing up, and I hadn't really gone into that. But this had created a people pleaser in me. A people pleaser that didn't want to even ask for what I wanted from my own husband for a fear that they may reject me. So here, this is a very Scorpio realization, is that you go on a journey with the anger or the frustration, and you start to find out that actually the blame actually isn't out there. I mean, it's not in here either, but the cause is inside. Blame actually is not the helpful, nor does it reach a place of balance, or it doesn't create any positive change. Whereas personal responsibility on what belongs to us does. Okay, I need to ask for things. I ask for what I need. And when you deeper inquire, and I think people pleasing is a very common one, particularly with women, that we are kind of, you know, socialized or conditioned to be liked, you know, that's like the nice thing to do, be a nice girl, be good now, all of that stuff. But also it causes a kind of rejection of anger. And yes, anger in its most extreme is not a positive thing in terms of violence, in terms of death. But anger in itself, when tethered, is a real strong driving force for change. So all the anger I was seeing out there in the world, and that was causing a kind of inner frustration and this kind of inward turning bitterness or resentment, that's kind of inward focusing anger, was actually a rejection of anger outside, you know, because we all have to be nice, be a good boy, be a good girl, be nice. And this rejection of and in the same sense of like putting ourselves out, you know, to not want people to say bad things about us or not be liked or not be good enough. All of this stuff we can get when we start to look under the surface, the Scorpio stuff. And we we get it so strongly in any relationship. So those of you who are Scorpio, I know a couple of you on the form let me know that you were a Scorpio, and I guess if you have it as a rising or a sun sign, it is really one of your life's learnings is to find true intimacy, to go underneath the waters, and to start taking away the mask, and to allow this this dialogue, this intimate dialogue to happen firstly in your intimate relationships, and then into your friendships, and even into your family. It's real, sometimes it can be real hard stuff. It can, and the flip side of this is it's hard, it's intimate, but boy, it brings passion, you know? And lucky are the people who have Scorpio in that sense, when they fully get this, you know, it's real passion for what they bring in the world, to their relationships, to their sex life, to their purpose in this body right now. And lastly, the final thing I want us to kind of think about is that Scorpio is following this whole series of signs and to where we are right now, which has followed subsequent cycles, going through these cycles of birth and growth and improvement and transmutation and death again. So if we have a think back to the time when the sun was in Aries, we all were inspired. We had idea, something new, something that you wanted to do with your life, something that you wanted to start. And then there were some habits that we had to change or think about changing, and Taurus to make that idea happen. And then in Gemini, there were some things we had to learn, some people we had to network with, other people we had to bring in. And then in Cancer, in the kind of beginning of the summer, we had to start like putting out to the world, like, you know, being okay with this new thing that we were doing, and also like living in it, doing it, being it. And to the point where in Leo, we may have got distracted and started playing, but we could like kind of be it, you know, as pure as that was at that time. And then we kind of started to get into the autumn, things got challenging. And in Virgo, we start to improve an idea, we start to review, we start to this is when soul consciousness starts to come in the kind of more esoteric way of reading the astrology. And then to the point of Libra, where we look at what abundance, what things have you harvested this year that you are grateful for, that have really brought you joy, which are the things that have been true for you. And then in Scorpio, we really have to go in and say, okay, this idea that I had back in the spring, what really needs to be, what emotional force, what emotional undercurrents, what shadow sides am I not looking at that will help me take this idea to the next level? And that's really where we are. What is going to, the emotional undercurrents, the shadows that we're not looking at, that are scary monsters, are stopping us from realizing its full potential. You know, Capricorn is like the peak of the mountain. And the only way that we're going to get there is by transmuting this emotional matter, setting an even greater vision for this little idea that we had back in the spring, and climbing that mountain. You know, I always joke Capricorn is about becoming a unicorn, you know, it's becoming the magician, making the most of what you have, yeah? Ambition, but transformed into kind of spiritual aspiration, you know, so that's where we're heading. And then after that, the rest of the cycle, we're kind of giving out. You know, Aquarius is all about giving out. Yeah, I guess then I'm debating whether to talk about the age of Aquarius now or later. No, I will talk about it now. So that's what we're in the annual cycle. And then there's this bigger cycle going on where we're moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And we're in the interphase, you know, we're in these interphase 100 years that kind of started to kick off in the 60s when people got this notion of like free love and peace, you know, what amazing ideals to start being like charged up about. And we're in the middle of the middle right now, because this is kind of the tipping scales. It's ruled by Libra, so it's a lot of conflict through harmony as well, you know. That's why there is a lot of anger, emotion. So right now, in the middle of this tipping point of the scales in Scorpio, this is like, what do we need to see? What emotional matter needs to change for us to shift a gear? And the gear that we're shifting is from Pisces, which is an age ruled by emotion, by fixed belief, by just self-sacrificing ourselves to what someone else has told us, you know, this, whether it's nationalism or religion, you know, all this war that's kind of a manipulation in a way of emotions to for greed, another emotion, and power. And we're moving into an age ruled by an air sign. And Aquarius on a personality level is the scientist. So we're going to see a massive development in science. And I'd see this science going in and into further depths about the science of consciousness, the science of the soul, all this stuff that, you know, for all of you rational heads is so hard to take without proof. And yet at the moment our scientific apparatus are so limited that we're unable to prove anything that the people on the more spiritual side would be talking about. And so that's going to bring a lot of positive things in the rational world, in our development of our way of our thinking, of how we... Aquarius is also a bit dispassionate in some ways. It's kind of rational, you know, so rational that it's not going to let any emotions get in the way of good, hard science, good, hard reasoning, a good hypothesis and conclusion. So that... taking away that emotion, it means it's actually a real positive thing, because we can ask ourselves, can we prove consciousness? Can we look at deeper questions of the meaning of life, why we're here, what is consciousness, in a more rational way? It's also a soul level. It's all about the collective, the group work and group service. So it's not one person leading the others. It comes from a collective. And I hear lots of people saying sort of like democracy. Yeah, I guess democracy is the infancy of group work and group service. If democracy truly worked, and there was no rigging of these democratic systems, then it would be the next progression in this world of group-led and group-serviced society, economics, food systems, environmental issues. We address it in a holistic way. Like, we look at the whole Earth as the whole Earth, as opposed to divided up into nations. We look at any problem as a whole, as opposed to, again, divided up into nations. So the age of fighting over boundaries of countries hopefully will come to an end, and we should see some kind of more universal society, universal means of managing and preserving and thriving on the earth. And actually probably shifting from this kind of monetization of resources into how can we help, how can we serve, you know, service, group service is one of the highest keynotes of Aquarius. So, let's get meditating, hey? A full moon, let's do it. So wherever you are, sitting yourself nice and comfortably. If you want to have the soles of your feet on the ground or cross-legged, sit your spine up nice and tall, see how you feel. Let's bring one hand onto our chest, one hand onto our belly, and close our eyes. Take a big inhale and exhale. And just scanning your body. As you exhale, feel down into your belly, notice where you need to soften. Breathe into that place. Inhaling, bringing the breath up into the chest and feeling how the chest feels. And exhaling. And on the exhale, let go, soften, and on the inhale, draw in. Release your hands onto your knees. Inhaling, draw the spine up a little taller, roll the shoulders down your back a little bit, and open that chest. Exhaling, imagining your breath traveling down your spine into the ground beneath you. Inhaling, allowing that breath to climb up your spine, up through the crown of your head. And exhale back down. Inhale. And exhale. Where in your body needs to move? Where in your body feels stuck? Where in your body feels uncomfortable? Maybe just move that place wherever it is. Maybe have a little stretch, I don't know, whatever feels good for you. And come back to your breath, sitting up nice and tall. Inhaling tall, exhaling fully. Inhaling tall, exhaling completely. Rubbing your palms, coming to your heart. And on your exhale, root down through the sits bones. Grow those roots deep. Feel the vibration of your heart as you drink up the nourishment that you need from the roots up through the spine, through the heart, and up to your crown above you, and grow the branches out the top of your head. Become any tree of your choosing. And on your exhale, root your roots deep and grow your branches tall. You're becoming a receiver, you're becoming a channel. Your intention here is to ground yourself. Keep yourself grounded. Keep your roots in that Taurus soil. And as you reach above your head, you're stretching up. Reaching up to the greatest relationship with all individuals that make our collective humanity, make up the whole of this universe, multiverse. And then into your heart again. Breathe now into your heart, into the midpoint between the roots and the branches. And feel that deep love and that deep peace within you. In the center of this emotional storm, feel that center point. And feel the love that you have for yourself, for those near to you, the family, or your family. Your friends, your community. Feel that unity that brings all opposing sides together. That humanity and that beingness in the center of love and the center of unity and consciousness. Feel what you have to feel right now. And recenter yourself in this place of peace, this place of love. And observe the emotions around you. How you've been feeling today. This week, this month, this year. Now bringing your awareness up to your crown and your Ajna center. Allowing yourself to receive light through the crown into the Ajna center. Replugging yourself into the electricity that is life. And just like electricity, we are, in Ireland and UK, we are a 3-pin socket. We are a 3-pin plug. Bringing awareness to your throat. Maybe just allowing an Ujjayi breath here. And back to your heart. And from your heart to your Ajna crown and to your throat. And to your heart and to your crown Ajna and to your throat. What are you feeling? What are those emotions telling you? What is that meaning? What battle must you fight? Must you take with 2 hands? and go into. What words need to be spoken? What unity needs to be restored? What purpose, natural resonance needs to be restored in your life? And as we look upwards above our crown, opening up that crown to receive fully, warrior am I, and from the battle I emerge triumphant. Warrior am I, and from the battle I emerge triumphant, is our Scorpio keynote. We are all warriors. No more so than the Scorpio warrior that confronts, that turns to, that observes the emotions, the feelings, that which is unjust, that is cruel, that is prideful, that sits itself in glamour, an illusion, and rises it up to truth, to authenticity, to vulnerability, to finding our courage to be who we really are. That's the real warrior. To live with truthful word, truthful actions, truthful thoughts. Always from this place of love. Always with this greatest intuition and insight. Marrying with our intellect. And as we feel that light pouring in the crown of our head, being received, and receive what you need today, whether it's a feeling, whether it's an image. Warrior am I, and from the battle I emerge triumphant. And triumphant doesn't mean popular, doesn't mean successful, it doesn't mean beautiful, doesn't mean married with kids. It means as you are, in all your perfect imperfection, in all your messiness, in all your wildness, in all your untethered truth. Releasing your hands to your knees, sitting up tall if you've slumped a little bit. And from the highest point of light, draw light down into the crown of your head and out to all those on this planet. And then from the deepest point of love, drawing up love and out to all those on this planet. Bringing love and unity to all. And then from the deepest place of will, of purpose, driving those wills of all those individuals across this planet. For all to find their own frequency upon which to live their own life. as they are. And from the center of all of humanity, feeling that radiate across this planet to bring greater peace, greater unity, greater free will. And just allow yourself to feel for a few final moments, receiving all the light, the love, and the will that you need. What is the thing that you need to transform? What action needs to be taken? What words need to be spoken? What unity and balance needs to be restored? What are your passions? And with all that you now know, scanning your body as you watch your breath, inhaling with full spine, exhaling the full spine, inhaling and exhaling. Allow that energy to circulate through the whole body. Up to the crown, down through the spine, along the arms, the palms, down the torso, to the hips, the legs, the feet, the toes. Big inhale, exhale. Taking any movement that you need to take. And rubbing your hands and placing them on your body wherever you need them to be placed. Give it a little massage. Rub the heart. I'm going to seal the practice with one single Om. You can listen or you can simply feel the vibrations. You take an inhale and an exhale. An inhale for Om. And feeling what you have to feel, knowing what you have to know, and being all that you are. Namaste.